there, folks. Welcome to Advisory. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today in Advisory, we are talking about conflict resolution. How to resolve conflicts in a way that is beneficial to you and beneficial to the person that you have a conflict with. Now, when I say conflict, I don't mean necessarily conflict with strangers or acquaintances or even people that you perceive to be your enemies or your ops. I'm not talking about that. Actually, you know what? I will talk about that, and it'll take me about 2 seconds. Ready?
How to resolve conflict with strangers, acquaintances, or enemies.
Let's see it. Walk away. Who cares? You don't know them. They don't know you. And if you do know them and you think that they're your enemy, then that's even more reason to avoid talking to them. Just leave them alone. Who cares? You shouldn't let people that are not really in your life have control over your life. And in most circumstances, you can probably just walk away and
Let them deal with whatever they're dealing with.
something's clearly going on with them, not my business. No, I'm really talking about how to resolve conflict with the people that you're going to come into conflict with most often, which are the people in your life. People like friends or relationships or teachers or parents or family members. These are the people that we will most often butt heads with, but they are also a very important part of our lives. And so we have to resolve that conflict, and we have to do so in a way that maintains the relationship with that person. So really the better question is, who do you want to build a better relationship with? Because a relationship that has healthy conflict resolution is one that will last a very long time, because you'll know how to handle each other when things get tough or when people get stressed, and you'll be able to come out of the conflict with a better understanding of the other person, and they will have a better understanding of you. I want to start with this metaphor. All right, follow me here. Imagine there is an elephant, and that elephant is being studied very carefully by 6 blindfolded scientists. Look at them. They got their lab coats. They can't see. To figure out what's around them, all they can use is their sense of smell and sense of hearing and their sense of touch. And they're all on different parts of the elephant trying to figure out what it is that they are dealing with. So this guy right here feels the sharp tusks and says, you know what? I got this. I know what this is. It is clearly a spear. Case closed. Done. And of course, he is wrong. Those are tusks to an elephant. But if all he can feel are the tusks, that is what he is going to base his guess on. Maybe this guy who feels the trunk thinks it's a snake. Guys, it's clearly a snake.
It's about a 10-foot boa constrictor. That's what we got here, gentlemen.
Maybe this lady here bumps into the legs and thinks, oh, this is clearly a tree. Maybe this guy on the ladder here feels the big side of the elephant and says, this is a wall. But we probably shouldn't take advice from a guy who decides to climb a ladder blindfolded. This guy right here feels the big ears flopping in the wind and says, this is a leaf. It's a big palm leaf. And I kind of want to ask him, what do you think you're sitting on, buddy?
Also, how'd you get up there? Get down. That's dangerous.
And then this guy back here feels the tail and says, this is a rope. He's clearly not using his sense of smell. And then finally, you have the elephant itself, which is no doubt thinking,
I wish these weirdos would stop touching me.
the point of this metaphor is that they are all wrong, except for the elephant. And they're wrong because they only have their own perspective when they are looking at the issue. And just like each of these scientists, when it comes to conflict resolution, it's important to understand that you may not have all of the information. You may have a blindfold on of some sort that prevents you from seeing the big picture. And this is why conflict resolution is so important. So when it comes to resolving conflict with those around you, there are 4 things that you need to ask yourself as you go into the conflict that I think will make the resolution healthier, better, and beneficial to both parties. The first question is, what's going on in their world? Before you even get to sharing your point of view or thinking about your point of view and what you think, it's important to think about them as well and all of the potential things that might be going into their view of the situation. Their perspective is based on their experiences. Maybe they're really stressed out at the time of conflict, and that's making it difficult for them to see things your way. Maybe it's difficult for them to express their perspective, and that is causing some conflict between you. There's all sorts of things that are possible, but it's important for us to think about those things and kind of get out of our own head to consider the perspective of the other person. In line with that is what is important to them at this time. Maybe they don't want to resolve the problem. Maybe they just want to have their perspective listened to. Maybe they need to feel safe. If you consider their needs and what is important to them at the time of the conflict, you'll be able to have a little bit more of an understanding of why they feel the way they feel. And I want you to stop and think about those first two questions. Who are they about? What's going on in their world and what's important to them at this time? It's about the other person. We're considering the experiences and the thoughts and the priorities of the other person and thinking about how that might be informing the way that they're speaking to you or what they are speaking to you about. And this is also something that you would want for them to do for you on their side of the conflict. And so instead of starting off thinking about me and what I want and what I need and how I can defend my perspective, I want to first think about them and their world and their perspective, and then we can work towards a healthy resolution. But the next two questions are about you. They are more self-reflective, like this one. Am I listening to understand or listening to defend? Whenever I'm listening to another person and I'm processing the information that they are giving me, am I just taking what they are saying and thinking of clever ways to counter that? Like, ooh, I'm going to get him on that. I'm going to get him on that. I'm going to get him on that.
Just wait for my time to talk.
I'm going to annihilate them.
But if you listen to understand and you are an active listener and you're trying to put your own perspective aside to genuinely understand what they are thinking and how they are thinking, it's going to lower the tension and make it much easier for you both to understand each other. And then the last question, have I clearly communicated my perspective? Sometimes a conflict is based off of a misunderstanding because either you didn't hear someone right or you didn't say something clearly so that they could understand all of what you mean. We have to make sure that we are clear as possible with what we think and feel so that they, when they are listening, can clearly understand where we are coming from. There's this saying, Miss Wing uses it a lot, actually, clear is kind. I try to be as clear as possible when I'm making these videos or teaching a class or having a conversation, but I am not perfect, and I will stumble over my words or forget to include something or say something wrong, and so I need to make sure that I am being as clear as possible when entering into some sort of conflict. Through all of your relationships throughout the rest of your life, it's going to be important to remember that that's what happens when humans live together or go to school together or go to work together or ride the same bus as each other. The people who you are close with are the people that you are going to have conflict with, and that is okay. It's inevitable, but fighting is optional. Conflict is not the same as fighting. None of those tips that I just shared have anything to do with fighting. Fighting is an option and a choice that you and or the other person make, but it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to fight as long as you are going through your conflict in a healthy way and with a clear mind. But that is all from me for today. You got some discussion questions on the next slide, so enjoy that. Until next time, be good to yourself and others, and I'll see you real soon.